Hey, good morning, November 4th, day after the election. Good morning to you. The sun, guess what? You woke up. If you're watching this, I woke up. And it's a new day. You hear the birds crowing? I don't know if it's a crow. It's some sort of bird. It's been making lots of noise. Hope you're doing well. Hope you didn't stay up too late. Clearly, as we woke up and there was no decision made. But we're not here to talk about the election. I want to share with you what to do when you feel bamboozled. And I had a bit of that feeling when I woke up this morning, and I went to bed early, didn't stay up, and I was thinking, I feel bamboozled. And I was thinking, why did that word come up? And maybe you know as well. But I was also thinking, what made me think of that word? So I want to share with you what to do when you feel bamboozled. Now, if you don't know what the word bamboozled was, I actually looked it up because I was thinking to myself, there's other words that may be better and more appropriate than bamboozled. So bamboozled, to practice trickery, deception, to deceive or get the better of someone. You ever heard this word, hoodwinked? Now, if you come on here live with me, let me know you're here live. If you come on the replay, I'd love to know when you watch this so I can respond and maybe even connect with you. But bamboozled or hoodwinked or underhanded or duped or hornswoggled. I always think of like you're a hornswoggler, right? A hornswoggle, it's like back in the pirate days. Feel fooled. Some of the words we may know, deceived, maybe suckered or tricked. Does that word ever come up? Have you ever felt tricked? Now, as much as you may want to think I'm going to talk about the election, I'm not. Because I don't really discuss politics. Although I did post something earlier about not understanding how the whole voting works when we have such great technology. But that's maybe another conversation. Let's talk about today what to do when you feel bamboozled. And I have to share this story, maybe to take your mind off the election. And I want to just share with you a bit of a dark time. It was an amazing time, but at the same time, I didn't realize at the time, looking back now, the enemy was trying to get to us. My wife and I were engaged back in 2001, late 2001 or early 2002. We got married in 2002 in May 25th, 2002. And up until that, we lived in New York City. And at that time, we were planning our time to move, what we were planning to do, which was once we got married in upstate New York, we got married in Rhinebeck, and then we moved here to Florida, and we've been here ever since for the past 18 and a half years now. And it's been great. It's been ups and downs and roller coaster ride, but it's essentially been great. But back to my point is, when we were getting ready, this is a story of being bamboozled, of being hornswoggled, hoodwinked, undermined, suckered. That was, I think, the best is suckered. Deceived, that's another one. Because at the same time we were planning this wedding of ours, right, in 2001, 2002, and I should say Nicole is doing most of the planning. You know, women, if you can hear me on this, you probably did most. In fact, you probably knew exactly how you want your wedding to look when you were young, grown up, maybe not. But we it was pretty simple. And actually we had pretty stress-free, although we did get hoodwinked. And now when we lived in New York City, if you've ever lived in like a major city, you knew that like unless you could have like a lot of money, which we didn't, if you had a lot of money, you could have a car in the city and you'd have to pay. At the time when we were living there, which is a long time ago, I think a garage was like to rent space in a garage was like $400 or $500 maybe a month, maybe more. It's probably $1,000 a month now to literally park your car in a garage in a major city. So needless to say, we didn't have a car. So listen, if you're coming on here live, let me know you're here live. If you're coming on a replay, let me know. And if you had value, if you experienced value, this is the Daily Dose. This is episode 217 something. And it's to provide some encouragement. And I think if we can get our minds maybe off the election, it's hard. I know, I get it. But let's just talk about being bamboozled. Well, maybe you're feeling that with the climate of the country right at this moment. So I want to share with you a story of being bamboozled, personal story. So here we are, no cars. We're getting ready to get married. We needed a car. So I had a neighbor across the way. We were close friends. It was like really one of the only friends that we had in that apartment building. New York is really strange. You can live on the same floor and not speak to somebody for like 5 years that you've been there. It's weird. But anyway, one neighbor, he mentioned a friend of his had a car that he wasn't using, and it was it was like an older Mercedes. It was like a two-door, and when we heard how much he wanted for it, and I'm not even a Mercedes person, but we were like, hey, we need a car. This could be a good fit. It could be a fun car. It was a convertible. And I was thinking to myself, it was like one of the smaller ones. And I was thinking to myself, let's do it. So lo and behold, we put money down, cash. We literally took cash out of our savings and put it into this car. And then we've come to find out that we got hoodwinked. We literally got hoodwinked, tricked, suckered, if you will. The car was brought over from like Germany, and it didn't have the proper title on it, and it couldn't, and that's why the guy was trying to sell it. And he literally got $10,000 of our money, because that's how much the car was. 10 grand of our money. And guess what? We never got it back. We literally got suckered out of 10 grand. And our neighbor, now we had moved. We had already got married. We moved, we were getting the car, and we couldn't get the car because the guy kind of ditched town. My neighbor kind of just cut all the ties off from us. It was really, really a dark moment. And I was like, you know what? And even just growing up in New York, not New York City, but growing up in Long Island, and just my parents taught me just, you don't want to it's nothing worse than feeling like you're being taken advantage of, right? You're being hoodwinked. Literally, we got hoodwinked, and it was terrible. So why do I share that with you today, and what to do? Now, you told me your story. Now, what to do? So back then, we really felt like suckers. And even through the wedding, it put a dampness on the wedding, even though it was an amazing wedding and it was a beautiful day, and I'll never forget it. It was definitely like hanging over us for a while. And we made other bad choices. I'm sure maybe you've made some bad choices, or maybe you've gotten hoodwinked, you've gotten deceived, maybe in a relationship, maybe in business, those types of things. So what we didn't have then, what we do now, it was interesting because I pulled up, and again, I had mentioned this before, this little Jesus calling, it's just some devotionals, and sometimes I'll do devotionals, sometimes I'll get into scripture, and if you're a man or a woman of faith, then this may resonate with you. If you're not, then maybe what I was sharing with you, being deceived and decepted and not maybe knowing how to handle it. We didn't really know. We just kind of went on our day. We were really like upset with each other. We argued about, couldn't believe it. It was definitely on my end because it was like I wanted this, like we were like, hey, let's do this car, excuse me. But as I pull up the Jesus calling today, and if you're feeling like you're being duped or hornswoggled, if you feel like the state of our country right now is like this shady stuff going on, right? You're not alone, right? That's why I don't even want to look at the news, because I feel like I don't even trust anybody anymore. I can't trust anybody. It's sad. I want to trust people, but it's hard to. And I want to give the benefit of that. But here I am reading the November 4th Jesus calling, and I want you to listen to this. And if you haven't watched the beginning of this, you're coming on now, watch back, because I talk about being hoodwinked, being bamboozled, hoodwinked, however you want to look at it, but how not to be bamboozled. So as a believer, as a Christian man, I read this morning, and it was just perfect. And probably it's in here for this reason, day after election, November 4th. So it says, just hear me out, I'm going to say this slowly. Walk peacefully with me through this day. You're wondering how you will cope with all that is expected of you. You must traverse this day like any other, one step at a time. Instead of mentally rehearsing how you will do this or that, keep your mind on my presence and on taking the next step. The more demanding your day, the more help you can expect from me. This is a training opportunity. I resonated with that. A training. I'm a trainer, coach. This is a training opportunity since I designed you for deep dependence on your shepherd king. Challenging times wake you up. Yes, isn't that? Can I get an amen? Challenging times woke me up and wake you up and amplify your awareness of needing my help. Isn't that the truth? Like, I woke up this morning, I thought there would be a decision, there would be a president, and there would be a decision made from the election. Of course, it's not the case. So again, challenging times wake you up and amplify your awareness of needing my help. And I would say if everything went our way, if everything was easy peasy, right? Easy peasy as our kids, lemon squeezy kind of thing. If they were easy peasy, then guess what? There probably wouldn't be this need so much. We'd be able to just think of it's our own efforts that are making things in life so easy. But the reality is it's not. So when you don't know what to do, wait while I open the way before you. Trust that I know what I'm doing and be ready to follow my lead. I will give strength to you and I will bless you with peace. Isn't that amazing? Like, there's a reassurance there if you choose, and you have the choice today to get up, regardless of who you voted for, regardless of who becomes elected president, regardless of your opinions, regardless of the opinions of others, regardless of people maybe being bamboozled, deceived, duped, hornswoggled, fooled, suckered, tricked like we were when we were 20 years younger and getting ready to move and being bamboozled into a car that we couldn't even own. And now is a time in right now for men and women of faith who can step up and not to sit back, but to step up and to have peace with the God who knows all things, sees all things, does all things, believes all things, right? And that's something, and loves all things regardless. So I'm just going to read this again for you. This is just so powerful. I'll just read it through a little quickly. And then if you don't have, this is just a Jesus calling. It's not even mine. I'm like, my wife got it, and I actually found enjoying peace in his presence. It's just been really, really, it's been really helpful for me and for my walk and my quiet time in the morning where I don't open the Bible, and I do, but I don't always. And sometimes I want to read a passage, and just sometimes God's calling me to a certain message. And this is the message today. November 4th, 2020. Walk peacefully with me through this day. You are wondering how you will cope with all that is expected of you. You must traverse this day like any other. In other words, we still have to go through the day. You still have to get up and go to work. I still have coaching clients I have to take care of. I still have kids. I still have to provide for my family. I still have to take care of my health. I still have to. Those are the things. Now, I don't have to. I choose to. Those are still things that I'm choosing to do. Now, you can choose to sit back and just fall victim to the world, fall victim to decisions, fall victim to being bamboozled. We could have left the being bamboozled into a car we never could have owned way back in the day before we got married and let that ruin us. And that I see happening to a lot of people now is don't let it get the best of, don't let it pull you down. You must traverse this day. You still have to go through the day like any other, one step at a time. Maybe you need 1 minute at a time. Maybe you need to pray every hour of the day, every hour on the hour of the day just to get through the day. And that may be what God has for you right now. Instead of mentally rehearsing how you will do this or that, keep your mind on God's presence and on taking the next step. Taking the next step means taking action. The more demanding your day, the more help you can expect from me. Isn't that a comfort? Is no matter what. Like, I think of some of my most demanding days to know that I have a God who loves me so much that he's going to help me even more so we can have that expectation. So this is a training opportunity. Since I designed you for deep dependence, he didn't design us to be independent, he designed us for deep dependence on him. Challenging times wake you up, as they did this morning, and amplify your awareness of needing my help. When you don't know what to do, wait while I open the way before you. Sometimes waiting is the hardest thing, having patience, right? As we woke up this morning, having patience on a decision is really, I have a struggle. I felt like, I honestly, it was exactly, I didn't want to think that would happen, but it's exactly what I expected. Like, it wasn't a surprise to know that there wouldn't be a decision and there would be some sort of bamboozle going on in the back scenes, some kind of suckering, trickery. And you know what? I'm a smart enough person. I'm not the sharpest one, but it just feels that way. But at that time, I don't want it to get the best of me. Trust. I'm going to trust that I know what God is doing, and I'm just going to follow his lead. And I know he's going to give me strength, and he'll give you strength as well, and he will bless you with peace. The only thing separating having peace in this world and not, the only thing is allowing him to fill your space, fill your heart with that kind of peace. And so if you're feeling that way, isn't it interesting? I kind of looked up one other thing too, as I'm going to end this daily dose. And if you found this helpful, share this with a friend, share this on your page, share this in a personal message, reach out to me if you found this well, connect with me if you want to discuss it even in more detail. Today's November 4th. You know what else? It's interesting, and I think it's probably appropriate. And I feel like a little bamboozled in this section as well, is today is actually National Stress Awareness Day. That's kind of crazy. And guess what else it is? National Candy Day. I'm not even joking. You can't even make this stuff up. Today is National Stress Awareness Day and National Candy Day. Now, as a fitness coach, I want you to look at the first one, National Stress Awareness. Today's the day of stress awareness. Of course it is. It's one of the most stressful days, right? There's no decision right now. But it's also National Candy Day. And as a coach, I don't want you to look at it being National Candy Day because it's going to give you an excuse to suck down the rest of the Halloween candy that your kids have sitting in the bowl in their room, or the bag in their room. That is no excuse, no excuse. Again, do you feel like BAMBOOZLED happens to be National Stress Awareness? Okay, I'm going to aware that I have stress today because it's National Stress Awareness Day. And you know what? I also found out it's National Candy Day. So let me just soothe the pain of all the stress that's in my life right now with a big bag or a big bowl full of candy. Doesn't that, do you not just see you're getting set up you're getting bamboozled here? Don't get bamboozled. That's all I have. Hope this daily dose found you well. Encouraged to hold tight to his promises, not the promises of the world, not the promises of the outcome of an election, not the promises of what the world thinks you should think, the promises of what God has for you. That's all I have. Take care. God bless. We'll see you soon.